All right, pick 11 to start. Rest of the draft went Chase, Gibbs, Jefferson, Bijan. At 11, I'm just going to take Amon-Ra. More likely than not overthink it. Amon-Ra's just damn good. I do want to actively try and get more Puka in my shares. I think he's fairly underrated right now. Definitely should be going above Neighbors and Collins to me, but whenever you catch him slipping after that, I think it's an easy take. He had like 4 yards per route run last year, which is insane, and it was kind of an up and down year for the Rams. As long as Stafford's healthy, which I think wouldn't read too much into any of that news right now this early, but as long as he's good, I'm all for it. Amon-Ra perfectly fine though. Saw a good video by BDGE where they went through like all of the current sports books, like estimations, over-unders for yardage and TDs, as well as just like points in general, and it looked pretty good for Detroit. I don't think I've ever gone with this Genty Amon-Ra start, so might as well get a little wonky and weird. I honestly don't love Genty as much as I do in Dynasty, simply because the Raiders are not likely to score a ton, at least in my mind. But we'll see how it pans out. At the end of the day, I think people are sort of low on Genty for the fact that Bijan's rookie season was a little underwhelming where people were compared to where people were drafting him. But if you get like, I don't know, you can get an insane season out of Genty. It's within the realm of possibility, and I love him, so I'm fine with my admittedly smaller share count, but still happy with it. All right, you can see I built up a little bit of a queue here. Let's figure out this pick first, though. Honestly, I might try and do something a little weird here. See how it works out. Even if it doesn't align the way that I would prefer, still could work. Now, Mahomes is in play at one of our later picks. I'm going to try and walk into a KC double here. It's not something I've done yet, and I think it could be weird enough to work. Yeah, my original plan here was to reach on JMO a bit, but I think that's better suited in a start where I take Amon-Ra maybe a little bit early and then get JMO closer to his ADP. The main thought process before I decided to take this KC angle was essentially most people after starting Amon-Ra Genty, I don't think they're going to be reaching on JMO, reaching on Laporta, and then reaching a tiny bit on Goff. So it does give you a little bit of leverage in that after this probably fairly common start, you're taking some reaches that I don't think people are comfortable enough to do consecutively throughout the draft and get a pretty fairly good Detroit stack off of Goff. And by all accounts, according to sports books and early projections, that offense is still going to be humming this year with or without Ben Johnson. I certainly think Ben Johnson's going to help Chicago out a lot, but I think Detroit's just kind of in a good position to maintain a fairly good offense. So I wouldn't push too far off of any Detroit players out of fear from Ben Johnson leaving. Okay. With this pick, I think we are going to go Harvey to play into the KC double that we have now. I've admittedly been drafting a little too much Harvey, getting enamored with his ceiling. Dobbins is a little bit of a threat, but I mean, with how much higher they drafted Harvey over what was expected, I have to feel like Peyton is fairly in love with him. Did the same thing with Knicks last year, and we saw how that turned out. Doesn't mean that it's a guarantee with Harvey, but we'll see. With this second pick, admittedly, I am a little bit more questioning. I think we're going to go Addison. I do need to get some Minnesota for the Detroit matchup later. Does potentially set up something like taking Hawkinson later and having a KC and Minnesota double, a bring back each, could pan out fairly well. To work into the Genty Giants matchup, I'm certainly going to try and take one of Tracy or Scadaboo later. Definitely have to see how the picks line up. More likely than not, we're not going to be taking Jared Goff anymore. So we'll move him down a little bit. We can take him if we really get stuck into a hard place, but we'll see how the rest of these picks go. Would have been insane if we got Monty at 83. Gonna take Mahomes first, simply because I think it's more likely for someone to take Mahomes after already taking a quarterback than it is for them to take Hawkinson after taking they took Kittle. So I feel a lot more comfortable getting quarterback for my current double set. Forget about it. Godwin is a little tempting, but without any matchups for him, I don't think we need that, and especially with two wide receivers who we may not have for the first couple weeks, both with potential suspensions out of Rice and Addison. I don't think that's something we want to do, but we'll guarantee our quarterback here. Likely take Hawkinson and set up for McCarthy at our next two picks. All right, there we go. So yeah, that's the plan. Will be a KC Minnesota stack. Feel fairly good about that, especially with having Amon-Ra. Would have been nice to have like Sutton instead of Harvey, but Harvey definitely does give us a fair amount of ceiling. Big question here is whether we can afford to take Evan Ingram after taking Hawkinson. It really does stack up for 17 well. Like we're really betting on KC, which we have. So I don't think it's the worst idea, but I really did want to get one of these Giants running backs to pair up with Genty. Certainly not the end-all be-all, but more than anything, at our next two picks, we will have to take McCarthy because the picks after that, not until 131, and I do not expect him to be there 10 spots after ADP. All right, be back at those picks. Okay, all right, I was going to say if Judkins is there and Ingram isn't, we'd have to do that. I think Ingram is just like the play, betting on a KC shootout with Denver. We really play into that game well. So I think it's the right move, and we basically close out a tight end early. This is a very a move I wouldn't do very often, but I think it makes sense here given what we've built up. We're gonna have to work a lot on wide receiver later, but we'll be fine for now. Judkins at 110 is like I'm gonna be taking that all day if I didn't have to take McCarthy here. So I personally feel that someone's gonna get a great value on Judkins here, but my lineup is better suited to taking McCarthy now that I have that Minnesota double. I mean, you'll see it on this fast forward. Whoever gets them, like props, you're living good. Was really hoping for Tootin into QJ there. Didn't get it. We are going to be very thin at wide receiver now, so hopefully we can hit some AP values later. But that is tough. Looking back, I could have gone with QJ first, knowing that I would have been fine with Tootin or Davis, but Tootin does play into Harvey 16, maybe give us a little bit there, and is one of the few backs in this range where you have an uncertain backfield that you can maybe see a rookie running back break through and give you a fair bit of ceiling. But we'll see. We'll see. And at this point in the draft, we really just need wide receiver help. Someone's going to get a great value on Tua here. I don't trust Pat Bryant fully. I feel like he's another rookie where like people are so used to rookie breakouts that they just are feeding into an ADP rise for someone that I personally do not see having a super meaningful rookie breakout. I still think Marvin Mims would have a leg up on him. He went fairly deep in the draft. It's not like he was a high capital guy. And McMillan is really nice for us considering the fact that Addison and Reishi may not be there to start the year. And with Godwin likely on the mend in the early parts of the year, he hopefully will have a small leg up on Igbuka and give us some value early in the season to push us through and get some good points until the rest of the team comes together a little bit later into the season. That said, I will take Pat Bryant if he's there at the next pick, just for the ceiling in that 17 game. At these next two, still need a lot of wide receiver help. Noel doesn't play that well into anything, but I do think he I do think he just has a higher season-long ceiling than Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce can certainly pop off for a game. We really want Wandell here, though, just to play a little bit into Genty's 17 game. It would help. Getting Slayton later wouldn't be the worst, but I think Wandell is underrated. If Dart does come on strong later in the season, I think he has some fair ceiling value, but it looks like now we'll just have to hope that Slayton falls to us later. I mean, maybe we could go Shipley. I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to go... We'll go Noel to start off. Hopefully he takes the role that is now absent, kind of in the slot in Houston. That's really the upside you're hoping for. That he takes Tank Dell's role while he's on the mend. Which, honestly, I hope that Tank Dell makes it back healthy, because that was gruesome. We do need a little bit of running back help. Shipley is a decent handcuff, though I do expect it'll be a kind of a rotation if Saquon goes down. But he does play into Genty in 15 if Saquon misses that game by chance. And the other two games should be fairly high scoring against Washington and Buffalo. And we just kind of need one more body in our running back room before we likely finish up with just receiver to give us a little bit of push towards the end here. Not to say that this next move isn't a decent ceiling play, but I do think in terms of the last two picks that I've made, at this point in the draft, I would be chasing a lot more ceiling with further stacking and stuff like that. Considering what we've already done, both in terms of team stacks with the quarterback receivers and the bringbacks that we have, uh, I do think, especially with some of the players we've taken like Rice and Addison, at this point in the draft, I think we just kind of need some value players. The one thing that's great about Tutu is not only do I think he's a value, when we take Ray McLeod here at the next pick, we do set up for a very depth piece mini in 17 with ATL and the Rams, and we just get further help in our wide receiver room for early on in the season, and kind of just really hope that the rookie running backs that we've taken here get on quick. But that's it for this draft. Certainly highly stacked, very ceiling focused, which is what you need in BBM. So do not be afraid to take these very kind of insane, risky rosters. It's going to be what, you don't want to just make it to BBM. You want to place high. That's kind of the plus EV. So don't be afraid to do that. Pretty happy with how this one turned out. So yeah, appreciate you all for coming out watching, and have a good one.